Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
All you horny devils, and welcome to the Sex Podcast with your host Andra, where the topics are about sex from the point of view of an older woman. Today's topic's going to be foreplay. When we were younger, foreplay was kind of quick and easy. Get in there. Sex was all about the, immediate orgasm and just rolling over and basically having a cigarette if you smoked. However, as we get older, foreplay is extended. Sex isn't about the orgasm anymore, and we enjoy the foreplay beforehand because it allows us to enjoy and work on that orgasm a lot better than, really quick in there, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. We are boomers, and are, as the kids would call us, and we, as boomers, are redefining everything about aging, including our sex. We don't look at sex as getting older. We seem to enjoy it more, and exploring each other's bodies is where it is when sex is the our main goal. It's not sex for people, us over 50. Our focuses are different. We know we're going to get to the act of intercourse. It's just, and sometimes we don't even get there if the foreplay is really good. We just find different ways in which our bodies will enhance getting to that orgasm, that end result. Foreplay becomes a playtime, basically, quote unquote. It's a fun time, and it takes our fantasy of sexual intimacy to a greater level in our relationship. It's allowing us to become even more interested in it, which, as we spoke about in other segments, enriches our sex life as older people. We don't have to worry about that. We're working on our bodies and how we're going to intertwine them with our partners. It more so becoming about two or more, as I said, no, two or more, but two, basically, individuals feeling good and not having to worry about that orgasm anymore. And continues to grow in that manner. In the beginning, you're doing when you're getting into sex and finally getting your sex life back after some years of silence, and you're older, you and your partner like to play. It's just it's a gig. You're giggling, you're playing, you're touching and saying, ooh, and just seeing what happens. And as that playing grows, it gets intense and more intense and more intense and more intense. Then your body finally says, "Ooh, I want to have an orgasm. I, want to go all the way." And then the act of sex starts to slowly come into play. You start fondling each other, and then he'll move over to you or you'll move over to him, and then all of a sudden that foreplay has just enhanced that orgasm that you're going for, because you went at it and you had fun. You made it interesting. It was, all right, let's have a little foreplay. Let's stop. Sit back. Ooh, wait a minute, I want more. You just were able to look at sex in different manners by extending the foreplay and the relationship. As we get older, we appreciate that more. I think when we were younger, we as young adults and sex was who can get Susie, who can get Jill, and do I look good enough? Is my hair slicked back? It's I'm gonna get her tonight. And it was like after the prom, ooh, let's get the hotel room, because a bunch of kids, bunch of young adults were going there, and the main goal was to party and get laid. There was no active foreplay. They may have thought that waiting during the dance was their foreplay. Well, their hormones are raging. As we get older, our hormones don't rage as highly as when we were younger. Each one of us are at different levels. Males sometimes experience erectile dysfunction. Sorry. Others are impotent and need to have the aid of Viagra, and that sometimes can be very dangerous as well. So, because that does cause heart attacks. Women need, if they're not lubricant enough, they need lubricant. So that you're adding that in as well, and we'll talk in that on another segment. But we right here just want to focus on the fun of foreplay, and that's where as boomers, like I mentioned, we're older, more wiser, and we don't have to worry about hurrying up in the act, of sex or intercourse, if you want to call it that. We actually enjoy it. It's like you go in with all your clothes on and take one piece. It's like strip poker. Ooh, let's see what's under here. Let's continue and do this. Let's take it off that way. We take that clothing off and throw it across the room. That is a sexual foreplay that is enticing and making the ultimate act, or that goal of the orgasm, all worth all of that time with foreplay. So, as boomers, my older peeps, our sex life is not gone. It's just enhanced, and actually even better than ever. We are learning more from ourselves, and our bodies tell us a lot too. So, and just to put that out there for those of you who are having difficulties, don't be afraid to go and see a sex therapist. or a psychiatrist, and talk about this with them, because that's what they're there for. They're there to help you. And the love or the intense feelings that you have for your partner, you'll be guided as to how to enhance that. And explaining that, foreplay being extended is no problem. It's actually part of it for us. And just enjoy life, our sex life, and how we use that playtime. And that orgasm will definitely be worth the wait. I'm going to take a break here. And when I come back, we're going to discuss feelings about sex and the orgasm of the older woman or the older individual, or the boomer population, as the kids would call us.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Back, my horny little devils from the boomer age, and welcome to the Sex Podcast with your host, Andra, where the topics are about sex from the point of view of an older woman. In the last segment, we talked about extended foreplay and how sex should be about pleasure and enjoyment, in the extending of the foreplay is all about that. It makes it more enjoyable. We're not fixated on the ride of getting to the orgasm. We sit back and just enjoy that ride and let it take us wherever it's going to take us. This segment, we're going to talk about sex toys and how to integrate them into the sexual relationship of each other's body from head to toe. One way of doing this is by having your partner, or you do it to them, it goes both ways, whoever does it first, is to take your hands and go as while they close their eyes and they're just laying there, and slowly wave your hand or carry your hand across their bodies so close without touching them. The heat from your hand they'll feel it. So the juices are anticipating this, and from anticipating this, they are getting very sexually aroused. So once sometimes you can't even get through it all the way, but once you're doing that, allow them to do it to you, because the feeling is quite mutual, and watching your partner get aroused by this also arouses you. So you're already going to be in that, oh my goodness, I'm so attracted, the sex, oh my God, I'm looking forward to this. When they go to do it to you, it's going to enhance you even more, which is going to enhance them, because they can see your body and what they're doing to you. Obviously, you can't see it, you have your eyes closed. But that's one of the things why this works. Exploring your body. Exploring your body in other ways is by, or at least, doing things, shall I say, I don't know if it's exploring your body. It's more of doing things that you know are going to attract or get your mate, your partner aroused and excited about sex. Wear your hair the way they love it. Wear your favorite perfume. Wear something that you want to wear that that really turns them on. So that's another. That's in a general term, a sex toy because you are teasing with what you're doing. So it's, even though you don't realize it, it is some sort of sex toy. The sex toys aid in, just like you wearing your hair the way he loves you to wear it, or she loves you to wear it, your partner in general, is turning them on, and you're using it as that sex toy. Sex toys, actual dildos, vibrators, rubbers. Some people enjoy that. Also do the same thing. Both acts work in conjunction with sexual extended foreplay. By using sex toys, we are finding ways to reinvigorate our partnerships or our marriages. Something we may have never used like years ago. We are now apt to use and say, "Oh, let's go. I want to try this." Finding ways to integrate other things in to the sexual relationship. I mean, sex toys aren't taboo anymore. You have so many erotic stores around now. It's second nature. They're in regular neighborhoods. They are next to grocery stores. Stop in there. You got to go into the grocery store to get milk. It's a perishable. Stop in the sex store first. Surprise your mate. Pick up something that you like. Give it to them. Let them explore it on you. That's sexuological exploration. There it is. It's enhancing the extended foreplay. It is making that orgasm going to be an explosion and something that you want to, come back and do again and again and again. Maybe right after the first one, you can go back into it. Or you look at it as, next time, let's try this. Trying different positions is another way. And we will talk about different positions in sex to try. I mean, the most of us, we're so used to just doing that missionary position, one on top of the other. Or where the guy likes to get up and do doggy style and get behind you, and those are really the two big ones, But some others, and other times it's more woman on top of the man and the man watching. Maybe the way you're moving your body that make your boobs, your breasts jiggle. Boobs, breasts, tits, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It all comes down to the same thing. Those two jugglers thingies on your chest. Women are bouncing. Just make sure you don't get black eyes. But sexual toys have grown, have evolved. They're manufactured to ways that, I mean, they take a woman's body and they will mold the inside so it sounds like, feels like it's the real thing when they make, the masturbation toy for a man. For women, men are coming and, having their penises molded so that it's more realistic. Their sexual toy manufacturers are finding other ways. I mean, there are dildos out there that now extend as you're using them, as you're going up and down on them, just like a man would. And they heat up. They bulge and heat up. So some woman out there or some man out there, decided, let's enhance what we do with sex toys. Let's make those more realistic because it's becoming such a big thing. It's either used in conjunction with porn, or we are the porn for our partners. They want to watch. And this is where that exploration enhances the extended foreplay, because they're watching you. Just like when they took their hand when your eyes were closed and they went from head to toe all the way down as close as they could, go to your body without touching. They're watching you. You're watching them. They can't see you. Although Emma showed some peek. But this is a way for them to watch and get really happy and gets them ready. So go out there, go shopping, and get your favorite toy. Prioritize them by importance. I'm going to take a break here, and I hope I got your juices flowing. So go out and buy a toy.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
To all you horny little devils out there of the boomer age, welcome to the Sex Podcast with your host Andra, where the discussions about sex from the point of view of an older woman, a boomer as we call ourselves, or as the kids call us these days. In our previous segment, we discussed extending foreplay, sex toys, and how they interact with each other in order to extend that foreplay to make intimacy or intercourse and the orgasm and that path of reaching it much more enjoyable, and just wanting to get there, and ways in which to go get toys that, go to the erotica store before you go to the grocery store, exploring each other's bodies sexually. These are all things that aid. This segment is going to extend that even further out to discuss how, on top of all of doing this, getting to know what each other wants by just saying it. And there are ways in which to do this. I think one way is, which has been noted, that each one of you and your partner, to sit down and take some index cards, and you each write what you would like done to you sexually, or what would you like to try sexually, and write everything, each getting its own card, even if it's far-fetched, because it might be something he's interested in, or it might be something you're interested in, and he may just do it for you. However, once you get enough of a pile, sit down and go through them. Separate them out if you want, or just make them a hodgepodge where you could just, constantly mix them all together and pick from the pile. But I think it's better not knowing which ones with, so when you're surprised when you turn it over. However, some doctors tell you put them into 3 piles. Ones that you really want to try, ones you're willing to try, and ones you probably won't even think about trying. But they're out there because we both, or each of us in our relationship, our partners, and yourself, look at things differently and have different ideas of what they want done. So as you're going through the pile, this is ways of saying, ooh, okay, well, she wants this, or oh, he wanted to do that, I never knew. And making that happen, that foreplay happen. It's actually been named the card trick. Regular porn is not so much, oh my God, I gotta go out there and get that to get sexually aroused for foreplay. It's not that anymore. Porn is still part of it, but we look on TV now, the stars on the, red carpet event, or just being themselves, are wearing clothes that are barely staying on. So we're getting porn right there, whether it's labeled porn or not, we're getting it. It could just be walking down the street and watching either male or female dressed scandalously. And I don't mean for prostitution and selling themselves. I mean they forgot to look in a mirror this morning, and they went out, and you have to ask yourself, their mother let them out like that. I mean, you can go on to the internet and see how people are going into Walmart these days and how they're dressed. So there's, we're getting it thrown at us, and we're not even taking a second look sometimes now. When we were younger, we'd have turned around and looked and went to the other side of the road, or our mothers would have taken their hands and put them over our eyes so we couldn't see it, and not to be exposed to sex. But nowadays, it's free expression, and this is showing that individual actually is very comfortable with their body. So that's like one little trick you can do. You might want to mimic a sex scene on TV or in a movie that you watched. I know that 9.5 Weeks was a big movie when I was a kid, and the things that were done sexually within there, I'm assured half of us will look at it and say, how would it feel to, if we did that? Oh my God. The food scene alone, where he's just throwing food in her mouth and they're eating it off of each other. People love getting whipped cream, and that's, arranging it on the partner's body as a bra and underwear, if you want to call it that, or a bikini. Doesn't matter, or some trunks, or just covering one little Adam and Eve area, our genitals. Hey, Adam and Eve walked around with a fig leaf, so don't even think twice about that. Some of our of fantasies, I mean, are unrealistic, but finding ways to possibly get as close as possible, or, okay, I want to try this. Can't exactly do that anymore. However, we can go about it this way. And this is what sitting down with your partner is, and, talking to each other, and this little card trick does. It gives you those ideas that, oh, okay, we can do that. And while you're thinking about those in your everyday life, your partner's probably preparing for it just to surprise you. So that's a way to look at it. Porn sets the scene. I mean, I think that the little schoolgirl outfit, the French maid outfit, things like that. Oh, let's do it on the boss's desk. Those fantasies are still there, but elaborate on them. Make them even funner for you and your partner. Try them different ways at different times that you want, when you're in the sex game, you're having sex, or the act of sex, you're building up to it. Go to the door, go throughout the back door, come to the front door, knock on the door, and play out a scene. It's setting the mood for that romantic evening with your partner. And because you're going to get something out of it as well, and you're enjoying just giving that act because you're watching your partner get excited, is arousing you as well. I mean, when you get to that door, no one's looking at your house. Just make a game of it. Either you start unbuttoning the shirt or he does. It's one of them. They could go either way. Maybe there's a fantasy that you wanted someone, him to dress up some particular way, or you love seeing them in a suit. Some people have fetishes or are really attracted to individuals in uniform. Some people love people in tuxedos and all dressed up and ready to go out. I mean, even if you have an event to go to where you dress up and you're just looking at each other and it's like, oh my God, that anticipation is growing. You can't wait to get that, your partner back home. These are ways, little tricks here and there. Once you start doing that and you start acting out what each other would like, go back, add new ones. Because now you've tried that, and while you've tried that sexual act or that fantasy, you had an idea for how you could either make that, enhance that, or decrease that, or go and take it in another direction. Work on it. But we're done for today. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.